I mean, that's a great question, and also, so it's basically they have to try to find the right frequency for.
Yes. I mean, I can give you a very specific example if it's helpful. So
yeah, please do.
And it's a conversation that I have with my own students all the time. In the animation industry, especially again at a studio, the jobs are very specific. So if you're a character designer, you design characters. You're not an animator.
Mm-hmm.
You don't do environment design. You don't do anything with the story. You're not a writer. Like, you have a very specific job. And there's about 15 different main disciplines that are pretty separate from each other.
Mm-hmm.
And first of all, a lot of students just don't really know that. They don't know what those different areas and disciplines are. They're just like, well, I'm good at art. How do I work in the animation industry? It's like, well, if you look at it from the studio perspective, they're looking through hundreds of portfolios. And they have a very specific job that needs to get done on this film.
Mm-hmm.
So they're looking for people who know what that job is, because they don't have the time really to train you in that job. They need you to come and be like, oh, here's your seat. Start working.
And fix the problem.
Start producing work
mm-hmm.
that we can actually use. So that's what I mean by these students may be extremely gifted, but they don't know how to show that they can sit in that seat and start producing work.
Mm.
So for example, with a character designer, a lot of people's portfolios might be pages of finished character drawings that are like one drawing of an amazing looking character, and then another drawing of a different amazing looking character, and another drawing of an amazing looking character. That's actually not the job of a character designer. A character designer, there's phases where the first thing is, and I think this will make sense when you think about it, but when you're trying to find a character design, first of all, you start with a script. You start with hopefully some kind of description from the director or the production designer. And then your job is not to do one amazing drawing of a character. Your job is to do 50 drawings of 50 different versions of that character. And then there's a discussion looking at those 50 drawings, like, oh, we like this one is interesting, and you have to kind of pitch all those drawings. Like, I drew this one because I thought it might be interesting if this character, this version was whatever, stronger, or liked this, or like whatever. Then that goes through another round where maybe that gets distilled down to 10 new drawings that are still finding the character, but it incorporates some of those ideas from that first discussion. And then you get to another level where maybe it's down to 2 or 3. And then when one is actually picked, it's not just one drawing. Now you've got to take that drawing and you've got to do, what is that character now that we've found the character? What does that character look like when they're angry, when they're sad, when they're happy, when they're, whatever. Now you have, or in this pose, or in this pose, or in this pose, or when they're feeling awkward, or look at the script and these moments, draw me what that character would look like in this moment in the script. So now it's all about drawing the same character over and over in a lot of different poses, a lot of expressions, really exploring like what that character will look like in all of its different facets in the film.
Yeah.
So
wow.
That's actually the job.
Uh-huh.
So the portfolio of a character designer, and again, this is just one example, and there's like every job, every role has a very specific need. For a character designer, you need to show in your portfolio the exploration of a character idea. So many drawings of something that wasn't the final, but it was kind of like, it shows the studio how you think and how you approach the challenge of, here's a vague idea, put some visuals to that. And then secondly, once you've found that character, now I need to see that same character in all these different poses and expressions, and it always needs to look like that character. That's not trivial. That's actually very difficult to do, is draw the same character in all these different poses with all these different expressions, but it always looks like the same character. So that's what a portfolio for a character designer needs to look like, because that's the actual day-to-day job of a character designer. Just showing that you can draw isn't enough.
Yeah.
Showing that you can draw amazing looking characters isn't enough. The job is actually how do you explore, how do you find the character design, like how do you explore it and kind of hone in on the character design, exploring all the different possibilities. And then once you have the character design, now show me that you can draw that character in every possible pose, every possible expression, so I really know who that character is.
And that he's always recognizable.
Always recognizable. And again, that's so difficult. You know, great draftspeople still have difficulty drawing that same character from a lot of different perspectives. This is a little bit of a tangent, but you've probably seen these like maquettes, like these actual little statues of characters, like Disney characters, right?
Yeah.
So the reason why they actually had that, the reason why they used to do that, we don't do that anymore. But the reason why we actually, I say we, this was before my time. But the reason why Disney made the sculptures, now they're sold as like high cost toys, okay?
Yeah.
But back then they had a very specific purpose, which is they made many of these sculpts and they'd give them to the animators. Because then the animator could look at that character from all the different angles. And they could see dimensionally what that character's face looked like from this angle, or from above, or from the side. Because they needed to go draw that character that way. It's a little bit like that. You need to be able to draw that character from all these different angles and different expressions. So there are students that I met last week in Waterston that want to be character designers, but don't know exactly what that means. But that's what they like to do, is draw characters. So having that conversation with them and saying, okay, if that's what you want to do, show that you can do this. And that should be your portfolio.
Okay, that's amazing.
So those kinds of things is what I'm hoping to bring. Again, trying to be somewhat of a bridge to kind of like take this thing that seems so far away and nebulous and vague and mysterious and just make it very concrete and practical. Like this is what you need to do.
I mean, this is so far it's an amazing advice, because it clears the fog of this image. What exactly do I have to do? And then like, okay, one character, a million different ways. He stays the same. Okay, now I know on what to focus on.
Because the day that you get hired for a job at Disney as a character designer, that's actually what you're going to have to do. You know, they're not going to. They don't care as much about like one amazing drawing of a character.
Yeah.
That's not actually that helpful. You need to be able to draw that character in a bunch of different ways. So, and that's true for an environment designer. It's true for a lighter. It's true for an effects artist. It's true for an animator. Like all those things. Every portfolio is different, and it needs to show that you understand what the job of that person really is.
Yeah.
Not just that you're good at something, but you're good at the thing that they need you to be good at.
Yeah.
Because, again, you have to look at it from their perspective. It is a business. I mean, it's magic, right? Like, we do it because we're compelled to do it and we love to do it. But these are businesses. They hire people not to actually mentor them. They hire people to get production from them. Right?
Yeah.
So they need people who are very efficient, very fast, very good.
Finished product.
Yeah. They want somebody who's ready to go.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Even the interns, like even people who get internships, which even that is like so difficult to get at a place like Disney. The reality is the interns are already probably good enough to do the job, right? The interns, or like people who get into the training programs at a place like Disney, they're already so good. Otherwise, Disney wouldn't have picked them. And the reason Disney picks them is because they're hoping that they can train them in the way that they want things done, so that they can go right into the job.
They can mold them into specific.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because people sometimes forget also that there's huge amount of money at stake when you're making a project like that.
Oh my gosh. I mean, the movies cost between 180 and 200 million dollars.
Yeah.
And at this point, an animated movie like from Disney is only considered a real success if it makes $1 billion. So, everybody there has to be really good and really efficient.